Jack, I'm sharing my screen, right?
Yeah, right now you are, yes.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for the City of Los Angeles RAMP webinar. We will be talking about City of LA procurement opportunities. We will be speaking about the RAMP procurement platform and how everybody can take advantage of learning about new procurement opportunities from the City of Los Angeles, as well as other public and private organizations. My name is Carlos Cordova. We will be having several guest speakers with us from the city, as well as providing insights into how navigate and register on the RAMP platform. We are recording this session, and you will be receiving a copy of the recording as well as the chat following our session this morning. So any thoughts, any questions you may have, please drop them in the chat. There's a great support team from the City of LA that will be managing the chat and will be providing any answers to the questions that are posted on there. So please do introduce yourselves, and any thoughts, any questions you may have, please drop them in the chat. Before we get started with the presentation, a couple of items we'd like to share with you. We do have a short video from a subcontractor, a vendor that has had success utilizing the RAMP platform. So we'd like to share that with you now, and then we will have a short survey for everybody to respond to before we get into the body of the presentation. So let me go ahead and enable this video so you can all have the experience of somebody that has been working with the RAMP platform.
Hi, my name is Kevin Ramsey, and I'm president of Alameda Construction Services. We've been in business since 1997. We are a site concrete contractor. We do curb and gutter, sidewalks, driveways, that type of work. We also do minor structural concrete. We use RAMP to find out about opportunities, and also when we're looking for work, we go to RAMP and search the site and see what opportunities are out there. And every agency in the city has their own contracts, but you can find out all about that when you register with RAMP, and then because that's where you go to look for the project. So all the city agencies put all of their bid opportunities in RAMP. The advice that I would recommend is keep the faith. You could do this. Find your opportunities, find something that'll fit for your company, find something that'll fit for your scope of work. The most important thing is to register in RAMP, because once you register in RAMP, then you find the opportunity. Sometimes the opportunity find you. You know, people are looking for you. So look in RAMP at least 2 or 3 times a week. Find the opportunity that you like. Put your proposal in, learn from your proposal, and do it again. Do it again, do it again, and then one of these times you're gonna get the opportunity to do it, and then once you do it, you do a good job so they can call you back. That's how we do our business. You know, we like to do repeat business with customers that like to do business with us. That's how you stay in business. That's how you get business with RAMP. It's a great opportunity. Don't miss out. Make sure you register, go there and look and send your proposals in.
That was a great introduction by Alameda Construction. They've been active with the city for a while now, so they're a great example of a company that's been doing a great job out in the market. One of the things that we like to ask of you before we jump into the presentation, just a quick survey so that for our own edification and our own information, we'd like to know whether you have previously attended one of our City of Los Angeles RAMP webinars. We hold these events on a monthly basis, and we always have new folks joining in. It helps us to know when we have, how many new people we have, so that gives us a little bit of an indication on the coverage that we want to have. We have about 70 people in the room, And so we'll give everybody a couple more seconds to reply to that question. So if we look at the results that we have, about 39% of the folks in attendance have previously attended one of our webinars, and 61 are new and have not previously attended. So everybody, thank you so much for your feedback to the session. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and jump in and go into the body of our presentation. I'd like to, first of all, give a welcome to our featured speaker this morning. Shannon Hoppes is a Chief Procurement Officer with the Office of the City Administrative Officer for the City of LA. Shannon has been one of the prime movers behind the evolution of the RAMP platform for the past couple of years, and she has been a strong proponent for the participation of the local and small business communities. So Shannon, if you'd like to go ahead and take over, I will handle the slides.
Thanks, Carlos. So good to see all of you here this morning. Thank you for taking the time. Welcome to those that are returning and to those that are brand new. We hope to answer all of your questions and ensure at the end of this presentation that you're all well familiar with RAMP and are registered, and we will be happy to answer any questions, other questions that you might have around procurement. So let's get started. Next slide. So what is RAMP? RAMP is the platform by which the City of LA communicates what it wants to buy. This is how we tell the vendors what we're in the market for. This is a platform that is hosted by the City of LA, and it is designed to house solicitations, all those solicitations, citywide solicitations, onto one platform. In addition to that, we have regional partners that we'll speak about in a little bit that are also posting and using our database to diversify and find vendors to suit their needs as well. All of the spending, the $4.5 billion that the city spends, is placed on RAMP. But as I mentioned, we have partners that are also posting in this location. So right now, RAMP is housing about $10 billion worth of procurement opportunities on this one platform. This is something that is evolving. We are adding new partners on an ongoing basis. So this is even more reason why you would want to enter this space. So even if you weren't interested in doing procurement or contracting with the City of LA, there are many other opportunities that might speak to the business that you are. So we are really hoping to create, again, an easy space for vendors to come to access multiple opportunities, both City of Los Angeles and other agencies' opportunities onto one platform. Again, we'll speak to the different region or the regional partners that are participating in this space as well. But as the slide mentions, RAMP is free to register. There is no fee that you need to pay. So there's really no reason, if you're not already registered on RAMP, to register today. Next slide. The goals and objectives of this platform was to really help our businesses find multiple solicitations in one place. It's about creating jobs. It's about our local economy. It's about making sure that we connect you with other businesses, with one another, so you can collaborate, so you can be familiar with this space. So what we did is we provided greater access to these solicitations, again, both public and private. It's about connecting you to the managers that are managing these solicitations. You'll find information that will connect you to those departments that are interested in the services or products that you might supply. Jack will get into how to identify that information so you can make those connections. It is a place where you can actually connect with prime contractors. Many of you operate as subcontractors, you're smaller businesses. So you would want to be very familiar with the prime contractors that we are working with, so you can make those connections and start to build those relationships with those prime contractors, so you all can collaborate on future opportunities that may come along, again, from the city as well as the regional partners. Next slide. So here are some of our partners that are using our database. They might be posting directly or maybe asking us to provide them with your names and contact information. So this is why you want to be in this space. LA28 has already started to advertise the fact that they are looking for vendors in different areas. I think one of the questions came up, why have you not yet seen the RFP? The RFP itself has not been posted. LA28 just kind of wanted to ready the market in anticipation of that RFP going out. I think we expect it to go out in September, but this is a way to start familiarizing yourself and readying yourself for these opportunities. In addition to LA28 and the Olympics, we have City of Hope and Cedars-Sinai looking for you. So this is another reason you would want to enter this space. Long Beach, City of Long Beach has been here as well as Sports and Entertainment, AEG. This is something we modeled after the London Olympics. They created a platform that aggregated or centralized all of the procurement opportunities related to the Olympics at that time. And this was something we thought we could really create and would do well for the city of LA. Not just because of the Olympics, but because we're LA and we always have big events. We always have a lot of opportunity that we want to make sure you're connected with. Next slide. So again, this is a place where local and small businesses can create profiles. What does that mean? It's a way that you can kind of build out a LinkedIn type of page for your business, a way for you to communicate to other businesses the type of business that you are, how long you've been in business, maybe share videos, maybe share whatever makes you unique in this space. You're able to list your certifications, which is attractive to many of the agencies that are looking for small certified businesses, as well as the city of LA. This is also a place where you can identify the NAICS codes that you might hold. So the NAICS codes are the codes that identify the type of business you are. And that is how we connect with you in terms of our solicitations. So it's important to build out those profiles. The more information you put into them, the better you are connected to the solicitations that suit your business, as well as to the prime contractors that are looking to do business with you. We also provide you with past solicitations, past information that is critical to you to understand this environment. This is a place where you can get educated. So even if you're not ready to do business with either the city of LA or any of these agencies, this is a place where you can start to get educated about how you would go about this, how you would get your certifications in place, the things that you need to do business with us or some of the other agencies. This is also a place where the city of LA, as well as some of our partners, do their outreach. So this is how we let you know about our events that might speak to you in terms of certification or how to do business with any of our agencies. We list our events, again, so do our partners. So if you are interested in doing business with those outside partners, they are also attempting to do their outreach efforts through this database. So again, there's really no reason you wouldn't want to register. And again, it is a free service that we are providing to you. Next slide. What makes this space unique is that again, it's the centralization of all these solicitations. You can identify, as I mentioned earlier, the buyers. You can look at past requests for proposals, so you can see who those vendors were that won our previous solicitations or our previous bid. So you can educate yourself on pricing. You can educate yourself on process. We have pre-bidders conferences that you can also attend, even if you're not bidding on what on the item. You can actually attend those conferences so you can see who is in the room. You can make those connections. You can hear the questions that are being asked, so you are prepared and more knowledgeable in this space. You don't want to wait until the last minute, but again, you want to familiarize yourself with a space. So when you're ready to bid, you have all your papers in place, you have your documents ready, you filed for whatever certifications that you think you might need, and you've also hopefully made some connections through this website. Next slide.
Awesome, Shannon. Thank you so much. Next up, what we'd like to do is, and I hope Shannon gave you a good background into the program. We have the chat open. Any thoughts, any questions you all may have regarding the program or registration. Now I'd like to turn it over to Jack Ochoa. Jack has been in the space of assisting the small business community for many years. And one of the questions that we would like to ask before we go into the next session is, and I'm having trouble launching this question. I'm sorry about that. We do have one more question that we'd like to survey you on. And let's see if I can launch it, but I'm having trouble with it launching for me. So Jack, why don't you go ahead and start? I think you're already sharing your screen, and we can maybe pick up that question regarding RAMP registration after the session. So Jack, go ahead and take it away.
All right, so I want to make sure I don't want to interrupt. So, all right, we're right here. So I'm going to go over through a step-by-step how to actually register. So don't feel that you need to keep up with me. Just remember, this is being recorded. And if you are in the class or you're in the session, you're going to get a copy of this. So you can always just watch and learn. And then what you could do when you're ready, you can come back and get this done. It should take you about 15 minutes to about register. It's not that hard to do. So I have seen a millennial do it in about 5 minutes. So just know that it can be done pretty fast. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. So you'll notice a couple of things here. So as you're looking at this, you're like, okay, cool. Where do I start? So you started the big button at the top, which says register, right? So log in, register. You're going to go ahead and you're going to click on that button. When you click on that button, it's going to go ahead. It's going to launch you to the next screen. And then you'll look at this. You're like, okay, cool. Well, there's two tracks. If you already had an account with the former system called LA Bobbin, you would enter in your email address, you would hit next and go to your password. But for everybody else, if you want to sign up, you're going to go to the button at the bottom, which says sign up. I don't have an account. You want to sign up. And then it's going to change screen. It's going to look like this. So what's going to have at the top, you're going to put in your email address. You're going to put in a password. It's about 12 characters long. Remember, uppercase, lowercase number. You're going to put your first name, your last name, and of course your phone number. I would recommend for a phone number, you put your cell number versus your office number, because I'm sure there's other applications where texting messaging is going to happen soon, I'm sure. Don't forget to click that button. It says you're not a robot. You're going to hit register. It's going to change screen. It's going to look like this. So immediately as you do this, what will happen is you'll get an email to the email address you put in previously. And so in that email, you're gonna get an email. It's gonna look a lot like this. And you're like, wait a minute, Jack. I just registered on RAMP. Why am I getting a communication from Angelino? Well, Angelino is the overarching system for the city, which includes building and safety, fire, police. Basically, it's an overarching system. So what you're doing is you're activating your account within Angelino, which is directly linked to RAMP. So when you click on the button there, you look at the email, it'll say, welcome to Angelino. you want to hit that green button to confirm you're not a robot. You're going to do that. Then it's going to change screens. Now, I will tell you, it does take a minute to load. So just give it a minute, give it about a minute and a half. It'll fully load and it'll look like this. So at the top, you'll notice it'll say company name. So now here's where it gets a little bit weird. So if you are a sole proprietor, your company name is you. You are the business. So you are the company. The DBA goes somewhere else. So if you are a company like, Joe's Pizza LLC, then you're going to put in Joe's Pizza LLC on line 1. You're going to obviously select if you're a sole proprietor or not, location within the US or outside the US, that's allowed. And then if you happen to have an EIN number I'm sure if you have a corporation, you do have an EIN number, go ahead and enter in the numbers there and then hit search. So the system's going to do, it's going to confirm that you don't have a duplicate account in here. So it'll change screens and it'll say, okay, cool. We need to put in the administrator. Who's the person who's going to be administrating this account? Make sure you put in your title of the organization. Again, LLC, you're going to be managing member, CEO, or whatever title you happen to be within your organization. You'll put it there. It's going to change screens, going to go to a screen that looks like this. So now I want to kind of isolate this particular screen. So what you're looking at, as I mentioned before, you have an opportunity to put in your DBA right below the company name. You have the ability to add in a small logo that'll fit inside of this particular field, and I'll give you some parameters. Summary, I want to focus on this for 1 second. It is so vital that you put information here. It has enough room for about 250 characters. And here's where you get to promote what you do. It's that one-liner, as Shannon mentioned, on LinkedIn that says, hey, look at me. So I would recommend highly that you spend some time putting in information on what's the summary. You'll notice directly across from that, you'll have your business address. Quick note, you want to use a physical address, not a PO box. This location must be a physical address, not a PO box. So again, remember, the United States Post Office is not a business address. That is where you receive your mail. So that's a mailing address. So then you'll notice right below where you put the summary, you'll notice that'll say your website. So you want to put that in there as well. Then as you scroll down on the page, you'll notice you have a couple of different options. The phone number requires dashes. Please do not forget to put in your dashes and your phone number. It's also going to ask you to put in an email address. So make sure you put in an email address, hours of operation, Monday through Friday, or if you're an everyday guy or everyday gal, you want to go ahead and put in that. You could put in your hours of operation. It's not a required field, but you can put in that. Your structure type, whether you're a sole proprietor, a partnership, or S Corp, C Corp, LLC, that option's available to you. You also notice on the other side, you have your ability to put in your California entity number if you are a registered corporation in California. And then you also have the ability to put in your BRTC number that I would recommend that you do get if you are doing business with the city of LA. You want to make sure you get that number and you put it in that field. As you scroll down, you'll notice two more and probably the most important buttons you want is on here. So one, you have to designate whether you are or you're not nonprofit. And then right below it, it'll say register as. Please, please, please take the time to select prime/sub. If you select prime, then if there's a subcontract opportunity, as Shannon mentioned, then you're gonna not get notified because you didn't put down that you're open to be both a prime or a sub. And just for clarification, a prime is the person in charge of the actual contract, and a sub is the work that it gets designated out to the particular prime. So there are more opportunities, as Shannon mentioned, to be a sub than there is to be a prime. And I can tell you, as someone who's gone through this with major corporations, we designated a lot of work out to subs because it just made sense, and it helped us to be compliant with the City of LA designation to include small business. So, and only because I also saw it in the chat, you're going to go into this next screen that'll now say, okay, what are your NICS codes? your North American Industry Code System sound. That's going to basically determine what lane you're in. So if you are not sure what your NICS codes is, there's two places you can find it. Number one, it's going to be on your taxes. So when you look at your taxes on the one that actually has your business on it, box B will have an NICS number on it, and that'll give you their number that designate what industry you are in. You also have the ability to designate and go to the US Census where it actually has your NICS codes. Now, here's what advice I would give you, especially if you are in construction or if you're a landscaper or you sell paint or you do any services, make sure you designate and look at what other NICS codes does my business qualify for. What you don't want to do is do spaghetti against the wall. You don't want to say I do it all. You want to kind of look at, focus on what are the areas that are related to what your business does, and then you want to select those. The system allows you to do up to 10 codes. So typically you'll put in about, to start, you only need one. It is not a required field. If you don't know it, you can continue to register. You go to the bottom and hit go to next, and it'll just bypass this. But you do want to make sure you do complete this section because it allows you to kind of get notified. You'll notice that when you hit the numbers, so let's assume your number is 531234. So the way you do this is that you select the number 54, and then you select the number 1, and then you select the number 2. So basically, it's a little bit like it's a process. It wants to make sure that you identify all the codes that are related to your industry. The beautiful part about that is that you'll notice that there's other areas that you're like, oh, I do that too. And then you can select those boxes as well. So there is order to this madness. So just know that it will actually help you to go through this process and to really designate which ones relate to you. You'll go to the next screen, and now it gets into like demographics. So you're going to select the area here under ownership type information, Asian, Black, Caucasian, Hispanic. So you're going to select these areas here. You'll notice on the other side, you have a couple additional boxes. Number of employees, under 20 is an option. Annual revenue, under $1 million is an option. Work history. Out of everything I'm pointing out, probably one of the most important fields is where it says, show your experience. This is where you get to brag, much like on LinkedIn. You would want to put any work history here. So like most folks, so we all started somewhere, right? So there's a couple of people that I've been working with. One of them came working at Disney, and this gentleman was making a lot of the amusement park items. And so I'm like, so you're a design builder? And he goes, well, I don't have a construction license. I'm like, go get it. And I'm like, in this way, you can brag about what you do right here. So, and this is where I think we kind of fail to brag a little bit about what we do and how we do it. So that's one thing you want to do. The other area that I want to highlight is this area at the bottom below where it says prefer not to disclose, where it says other identifiers. Make sure you hit that button right there, because it'll allow you to identify male or female in case there's a targeted reach where they say, hey, we only want to reach to women-owned businesses. Then you're going to basically, that's where it's going to designate this. So you want to make sure you do not forget that field. So going on a certification, because I already see a lot of questions being asked about certification. Let me be clear. You can actually skip the section if your business is not certified as a small business. You scroll all the way to the bottom and hit next. So the registration certification as a small business is not required. You can go to the bottom and hit skip and move on. Now, if you happen to be a certified small business or designated by any of the categories as listed on the screen, the City of Los Angeles does recognize other agencies' certification. So I highlighted some of them that are on the side there. Department of General Services has a small business program that you can go get certified. Takes about an hour. the California Public Utility Commission, also known as the CPUC. That one will actually certify you as a minority-owned business, as well as a woman-owned business, as well as the LGBT and for people with disability. So you have that one for the CPUC. That one takes about 2 hours to do. Metro down the street does also certify companies as both small business enterprises as well as disadvantaged business enterprises. So if you happen to do that one, those are the three. And by the way, these four that are on including federal government are all free to get done. So there are other paid versions that you'll do that are out there in certification world. And one of those are national certification, which, by the way, the city of Los Angeles does recognize those as well. If you made the investment in your business to go get your national certification as a minority, woman-owned business or veteran-owned business. So the city does recognize those certifications as well. So when you do that, you're going to check the little box. It's going to open a little drop down. You select what agency you're certified by. You have to enter in the number, and then it just basically, somebody actually physically has to go in here and actually check it for you to basically affirm that your company is certified by the agency you claim that you are. So then you'll get to the very end, which is now you get to look at your profile. You get to see what you wrote. And so as you look at it, you're like, okay, cool, it looks good. Let's move on. So now you go all the way to the bottom and you go ahead and hit submit. So then once you hit submit, it's going to look a lot like this. It's going to say, hey, thank you for registering. Click here to go home. So when you click here to go home, I'm going to share another. I'm also going to now share the actual live website. And I know Andrew's on here, so I'm sure we're going to get a lot of questions. So here's a live version of the website. So Carlos, can you confirm that you can actually see my screen? All right, cool. So here is a live version of the actual website. I logged in. You'll notice right at the top, it has my name right here at the top. So you can see, okay, cool, I'm inside the system. So now you're like, okay, cool. I want to look for opportunities related to what I do. So remember, and Shannon highlighted this, look at this as a place to do some research. So, and I'm going to give you an example. I actually did this a couple of days ago. I was looking for a company to translate for a response to a RFP that I was responding to. So I went on Ramp and I'm like, I need a translator. So I went on there, found the NICS code I was looking for. And I said, but I don't want just any translator. I want them to be certified as small. Got to practice what I preach. So I went on here and I designated on a button way down here that allows me to say, okay, I only want to search for people that are certified. So when I went on here and I can actually look for companies, so I want to look for my competitor, I'm going to go on here and I'm going to go to search profiles. I'm going to say, hey, what is my competitor doing? So I can go on here and say, hey, let me see somebody that does landscaping. So I can go on here and I can designate, or I'm going to find out what other small business are out there, what other minority business are out there. So I can go on here and it'll designate all the ones that are minority-owned businesses. I can also filter by NICS code, so I can pick different NICS codes if I want, related to my industry. So professional services. So I want to pick this one, research and developer. I can go on here and it'll filter it out even further and search. Okay, give me only those that are in that. So what you want to do is you want to look for what type of work you're looking for. So at the end of the day, the example that I did yesterday, I was looking for a translator. So I went on here and I just wrote the word translate. And I found this company and I'm like, okay, cool, here it is. So I want a translator. I want to go, this is the company I want to work with. I want to go ahead and click on it. And now I can look at this company's profile and say, okay, who are they? Well, they're in Venice. They happen to be some area that can help me with. And then when I reached out to this person, I said, hey, by the way, you're not certified as a small business. Why don't you take the time to get certified so then I can use you on this particular contract? So what I want you to see is that you can use this as not only looking for additional partners to respond to the city of LA, or you can look for opportunities for yourself. So with that said, Carlos, is there any question before I jump into how the website works?
Hey, sorry, Jack, I couldn't find my unmute button. Just a quick question. We have that are popping up. We have done a separate session regarding certification, and we'll be glad to share the recording of that session with the group as well. But Jack, if you could just touch real quickly on the certification, meaning just name drop a little bit different organizations or public agencies that offer up certification. You touched on that briefly, but if you could just touch on that one more time before you move on.
All right, so I'm going to give you the Cliff Note version of certification. There are easy certifications to get done, and then there's complex. So the easy one takes about an hour, which is the state of California. So about an hour, few pieces of paper, about 5 or 6 pieces of paper, and you're done. As long as your business is under $15 million over the last 3 years, you will qualify as a small business. So that's the easier one. There is the more complex one. By all means, if you want to do it, go for it, which is the federal government one. That one can take up to and not less than 30, 60, 90 days. And if you make one single error, you go to the bottom of the pile and you're like, they're gonna get to you when they can. So I would recommend that you get your small business certification, because the city of Los Angeles recognizes that one. And it's free. You're like, it's free, takes about an hour, done. The other one that's out there that's free, if you want to get certified as a minority, as a woman, or LGBT, or a person with disability, is the one with the California Public Utility Commission. And that specific website is the Supplier Clearinghouse. So if you go to that website, it'll say certification for these groups, again, minority, LGBT, women. And if you happen to be both a minority and a woman, you get to check 2 boxes and you get to get certified with one agency, get 2 certifications. You're like, hello, that's easy enough. And oh, by the way, the Hospital Association of Southern California and all hospitals across the entire state of California recognize that certification. So it just makes sense to get that one done. If you happen to be a minority or a woman, you might as well get that one done. Now, there are more complex ones that are fee-based. Now, those are the National Minority Council, and that one you can do here in Southern California. Each particular part of the country has its own. There is the WBENC, which is for women's certification. And unfortunately, no, they are 2 separate entities. One only certifies minorities and one only certifies women. There is another national certification, which is the LGBT Chamber of Commerce, does also certify LGBT businesses that are LGBT. They actually have the national certification as well. There is a little bit of a catch with that one. You do have to be a paid member with the local chapter in order to be designated under their organization. So you have to look at it a little bit differently on free versus paid. So, and Shannon's gonna back me on this one. I'm gonna say free first. Do the free ones. That way, just get in the door and just get going. So that way, businesses and organizations like the city, like LA28, can actually use you. I will tell you, and only because I've had conversations with LA28, is they are specifically looking for minority, women, and diverse businesses, specifically for LA28. I would highly, highly recommend, if you fit into any one of the categories, including small, make sure that you actually go ahead and get at least get the California DGS one out of the way. And that website, if you're not sure what that website is, and I'm not sure if Carl's put on the chat, is CALE procure.ca.gov. And yes, Jack has it memorized. So yes, that is the website. You go on there. There's a button where you have to register as a vendor. You go through the process of registering as a vendor, much like we did here. And then you're going to go ahead and once you register as a vendor, you will then have to register as a small business. So it is a two-step process, but as Carlos said, we did do a training on this. And there is, I mean, the good news about California DGS is they're always there to help you. You're not sure, call them. They'll walk you through it. They cannot tell you how to fill it out, but they can actually guide you through like, hey, are you sure you're answering that right? So they'll kind of like guide you a little bit. They just cannot tell you what to type. We're good?
Oh, good, thank you. And again, we would refer you to, on the chat, the RAMP support team has posted a link to, it's a 2-page file, you can download it, and it has the different certifications. It has the agencies that provide the certifications, and those are all hyperlinks. So we mentioned the State of California DGS. If you download that file, there's a link there that will take you to the State of California Department of General Services, which will then link you to getting your state certification. So definitely download that file. The link is in the chat.
Right. All right. So I want to kind of go through a little bit of a demo of the site. So again, looking for opportunities. I'm a landscaping company, so I put in the word landscape. So remember, as Shannon pointed out, look at this as more like a research. I'm going to do some research. What did the last person do? What did the last company do? So you'll notice some of these are open, some of these are closed. So you can go on here and go, okay, you know what? I want to see, this one sounds kind of like what I do. All right, let me click on this one. So you're going to go ahead and you'll notice it's RFP, not RFB. The difference between a proposal and a bid is lowest bidder, but an RFP is a scoring system. So looking at this one, you'll notice a couple of things. You can go on here and say, okay, the bidder was already selected, but out of this whole page, probably the most important page is right here. You have the contact information to the person that did this. So you're like, well, wait a minute. I can now reach out to them and see if they have other opportunities that might be coming up. Yes, yes. Reach out to that person right there and said, hey, I do landscaping. How's it going with this person, with the current company? So what'll happen is you can go on here and do some research. You can also see what is a summary. You can see who the prime that was selected. Right here, it tells you exactly who was selected. It tells you where they're at. And then also any subcontractors they may have used. Looks like they didn't use any. That's too bad. But anyway, the bottom line is use this as research. So go through this and you're like, okay, well, what else can I find out? So you can go on here and see what the documents they have. Under the Public of Information Act, you can ask Sophia here for a copy of this particular solicitation. You're like, hey, I want to see what pricing they use. Because yeah, this is one of my biggest competitors. I want to see what they did. So you can do that where you can ask, hey, can I get a copy of the document? They will ask for it. Typically, they will ask for it in writing and preferably a hard copy versus the email version. Because again, I'm a little OCD. So I will tell you, I'm gonna make sure they get a hard copy as well as an email because I don't want to hear I didn't get it. Nope. I got it signed. I got a letter saying that you signed it. Yep. Nope. I want a copy of that. So it's always good to do that. Rich, I want to point something out for you as well.
Okay.
You'll notice here.
Te hables, mamá, nomás te hablé para decirte I love you.
All right. So you'll notice here, I mentioned the types of solicitations. So you could go on here for additional research. You go here, you can do commodity, construction, professional services. You also can do both open, awarded, or amended, or closed. So you have multiple options here. As a research guy, I would always go to awarded because I want to see, hey, let me see all the ones that have already been closed in my category. The other one that you could do are types of solicitations. So as a quick note, you'll notice there's a laundry list of types of certifications. So proposal is more of a scoring solicitation. A request for a quotation is more, a qualification is more, let me create a bench of companies that I can designate to do the work. Now, this one would typically happen if I'm gonna repaint every building in the city of LA, then I'm gonna go find as many companies that are qualified that I can pick from, creating a bench. So a bench is a group of companies that have been pre-qualified to do the work. And in that particular situation, you will get a task order to say, hey, you're qualified, here's the task order to go get it done. Request for interest is the city of LA is thinking of an idea. We have an idea, we're not sure if this is gonna work, we're not sure if there's companies out there that can do this. And so that's where request for interest is at. And the second one is request for a bid. Remember, a bid is lowest price. So you'll notice that I pointed out all the other ones above it because the bid is just strictly price. So they're gonna look at your qualifications and they're gonna go lowest price. Again, not a fan of that particular section, but that's just not me, okay? The last one is request for a quote. This one is usually done for lower dollar transactions. Now you're probably thinking lower dollar, it's the city. So yes, the city of Los Angeles does do requests for quotes on a regular basis. So anything under, I believe, $1,000, it's, you know, if you're talking to the buyer, they'll throw you a quick purchase order, we'll call it good. But a request for a quote, those are typically between $1,000 and $25,000 bucks. So you're probably thinking to yourself, $25,000 seems like a low number. Do the math. $25,000, 12 times a year, that number adds up. So, and it's always a good place to start to get your feet wet on working with a large agency like the city of LA, or like LA 28, or like LAUSD, because LAUSD does put out solicitations. Specifically, LAUSD, because they're on this website, LAUSD specifically only puts out RFPs and RFQs, request for quote. That's it. They don't do bid. They stopped doing bids a long time ago. So they're doing request for quote and request for a bid. So for LAUSD, if you're looking for opportunities with LAUSD, and by the way, Shannon, I just heard today officially, they have a new chief, and the chief said they're committed to staying on ramp indefinitely. So we're good there. So now for the rest of you, LAUSD has $7 billion they're trying to spend. I'm like, hello, sign me up, right? You gotta get into this. You gotta figure out how you scale your business. The city has a lot of opportunities and a lot of new partners that are coming on board. So I will just tell you, actively, the city of LA and some of the efforts that we're all putting in is the San Gabriel Valley and 26 cities are talking about potentially joining RAMP. So that's what I'm saying. There's more coming, but you can't be sitting on a sideline. You have to register. You got to get on board with this. So is there anything that anybody, any other questions, Carlos?
Lastly, we are wrapping it up. We have about 7 minutes. Could you just reinforce one of the elements that you mentioned, that once an individual or a company has registered, they put in their NAICS codes, and that is how they would be notified of opportunities that are posted on RAMP, because otherwise, without putting in NAICS information, they're likely not to receive solicitations that fit their business profile. So if you could just mention how that process works, so that when solicitations go out, folks receive the ones that are most attuned to their business.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and, only because I'm looking at my NAICS codes here in my hand, I'm going to go ahead and I'm entering my NAICS code. So 541820, right? I said, okay, let me see those opportunities. I'm going to go in here and hit search. So what it's going to do is going to say, hey, these are all the ones related to public relations. So anything related to public relation, you have opportunities from the Department of General Services, the Housing Authority, DWP, and different agencies. So what you could do, and again, just a recommendation, is I would look at these and go, okay, what does this one have to do with public relations? And you're probably thinking, General Services, why is General Services looking at that? Well, as I'm sure most of you may or may not know, at the bottom of City Hall, just by the, off to the side, they have retail space. And you're like, whoa, 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 what? Yes, right below City Hall, there's a bunch of retail places there. And they're probably looking for a company to do some PR for them. So you can go on here and go, okay, let me look at this opportunity. And then you can look at, again, I'm gonna go back to my original point. You can reach out to this person as long as it's not, this one's currently open. So you can look at opportunities that are related to your thing. Now, let's assume for a moment that you like this opportunity. You can actually bookmark it right here so that it'll save it for you. So again, you have to put in your NICS codes. So I'm not sure if somebody wants to throw out their NICS code and I can put it down. Anybody?
I think you can do a query by
Yeah.
business or by the, yeah, by the
I
description.
just type in paint. So you can go in paint and go on here, okay, I do paint. I'm gonna go in here and put in automotive paint and part. So I'm gonna go on here, I'm gonna hit search. And then it'll do a quick search and it'll help me find anything related to paint. So the cool part, if you don't know your number, you can actually put in words and it'll actually look it up for you. So you have the opportunity to go on here to really look up your NICS codes. If you're not sure, if you don't know your number, you could use words and then it'll give you a little drop down so you can pick the one that's appropriate for you. I can't emphasize enough. You have to do your research on your NICS codes.
Perfect. Thank you, Jack. We are right at the top of the hour. We only do have a couple minutes left. I'd like to pose the last question that we have in our poll. Hopefully after hearing all the great information that you received, let me see if I can take over the share screen. There we go. The last question that I'd like to share with you is, let me see if I can fix my poll because it just doesn't want to.
While you're doing that, Carlos, I just want to add, this is really just one of the first steps in terms of your journey to contracting with the City of LA or any of these other agencies. Just because you register doesn't mean you're guaranteed a contract. Your business owners, you're very familiar with the fact that it takes tenacity in this space. It takes some grit, and this again is just one part of the process. So this is how you at least become aware of the opportunities that are available. You still have to, again, get your ducks in a row, get your paperwork in place, get your BTRCs, get the certifications in place, get familiar with how to navigate this space, how to write a request for proposal, how to respond to those requests for proposals. So there's a lot of layers to this. We're going to do as much as we can to educate you in these various areas. So stay tuned to upcoming trainings. But again, this is just one piece of the puzzle, but it's a huge and very important piece. So be sure to register very soon. Hand it back to you.
Awesome, Shannon. Thank you so much. With that, we'd like to just remind you, we will be distributing this recording for this session. You will be receiving it within the next couple of days. These are monthly sessions, so along with the recording, you will also receive an invitation that you can share with your peers for upcoming session towards the end of July. So with that, I'd like to thank Shannon. I'd like to thank the City of LA team for handling the chat session. The chat will be distributed along with the recording, so you can go back and reference it. There's a lot of email. There's a lot of hyperlinks there. And Jack Ochoa, thank you for taking us through RAMP. And with that, everybody have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us.